Live from Spectre, this is Derailed Trains of Thought. Well, welcome to episode 78 of Derailed Trains of Thought. My name is Timothy Deal.
And I am Nick Hayden.
And today we're coming to you from a very quaint little town.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, I think.
They've got the lights strung up. They've got shoes.
A lot of shoes strung up.
I don't know why the shoes are on the wire.
I feel like I should probably take my shoes off.
They encouraged me to kick mine off as soon as I came into town. And it's quite cozy, although there's something just a little bit off about the townsfolk
here. Yeah, it's just, I'm not sure what it is. I can't quite pinpoint it, but...
Yeah, but it seems pleasant enough.
It's pleasant-ish.
Pleasant-ish. So, how's your summer going so far, Nick?
Pretty good. Too fast.
Too fast. Well, yeah, it always goes. Well, you could use 104 days of summer
at least.
Vacation.
Yeah,
I think
not
all
like
is good.
60 or whatever they give you now.
Yeah. Been geocaching much?
Not lately. No. In Kendallville, there's a thing called Rambling Rocks. The library's doing where all these people go paint rocks and hide them around town, and they go find them and rehide them. And so me and the kid. Well, Natasha's done a lot of it with the kids, but I've been when I'm home doing it with them too.
Nice.
So that's been fun.
That's cool. So
let's just sit around and drink some lemonade.
Drink some lemonade here. That sounds like a good idea. And,
we probably should do something else too.
We are here to podcast.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So let's go into story school. Nick, this is sort of your brainchild.
This is
here.
my brainchild. Hello, child. You are from my brain. Okay, a little history.
Yeah.
Here's how I came up with this idea, and I guess it's more of just a discussion than anything. Early June, I believe, was the 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Okay.
The Beatles album, the famous Beatles album, which I happen to own and enjoy. I'm not like a super Beatles fan, but I enjoy a lot of their music. But I was poking around, being like, oh, that's interesting. And there were some stories online, I think mainly from Rolling Stones magazine, if I remember correctly. History between each story. And for the benefit of Mr. Kite, is a very interesting circusy song. I've always enjoyed it. I was like, where did this come from? This is a bizarre... I mean, most Beatles songs, you say, where did this come from?
Yellow Submarine.
Exactly.
What? And
the funny thing is... They could make a story. They could make a song out of anything. This apparently, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher the history. If you're a Beatles fan, please forgive me. But I think it was Lennon. I could be wrong. John Lennon needed a song. They were running out of time, and he collected all kinds of weird stuff, or whoever it was. And he had this circus poster from like 1860s, and he just looked at it. He had thought it was cool, and he bought it and whatever. And he looked at it, and he basically made the song just off this poster. Like half the words from the song are from this poster. It says, for the benefit of Mr. Kite, we'll do somersets on solid ground, through hogheads of real fire. Like half the lyrics of the song are from this poster.
Wow.
And it's a very interesting poster. I'll have to put it on the Facebook page when this comes out.
So are we going to be talking about plagiarism here today, Nick?
Yeah, no. And look, I love the song. I really enjoy the songs, but it made me think the Beatles could make a story out of anything. Anything. And it made me think that everything is story.
Everything is story.
Yeah.
Everything is...
Yeah, exactly, except cooler.
Yeah,
no, and again, I got kind of philosophical about this when I first started. So let me give my philosophy first, then I guess we'll kind of unpack it.
Yeah.
This is sort of my... also my ode to smaller stories.
Okay.
When you go to movies, it's epic. It's always the end of the world or the ending of war, because that's what you want when you spend $100 million on something.
Big blockbusters.
Yeah. But anyways, here's my philosophy. As a Christian, the Christian worldview in a nutshell is basically in three movements. Creation, God made stuff. Fall, we messed it up. Redemption, it's made better again. Now there's also a fourth one, consummation, but we're not going to throw that in here right now. And now the more I was thinking about that, really all stories from a Christian point of view are basically either moving from perfection to sin or from sin up. And not that everything's spiritualized, but everything has got, if you're going to put it in secular terms, you got entropy. You have moving towards disorder. So from a Christian point of view, everything is story because everything is, we're fallen. We're in the fallen state. We're either moving towards something better in a decision or away from God.
Yeah, towards God or away from God.
And again, that sounds really heady. Like, okay, Nick, you're going to write, Dostoevsky here. I'm like, sometimes, but it's like this. I mean, you can have a whole story about. I wrote a flash fiction one time about falling asleep. I mean, that's basically all it is. But it's really about that kind of fear you can have when you're late at night and you're trying to fall asleep, and you're like kids have intuitively without meaning to.
What if you fall asleep and
then you don't wake up?
Yeah. Which sounds like a Doctor Who plot.
It does actually.
Now I think about it.
Yeah, it does actually. But I think the big philosophical picture is just my way of seeing, look, everything is a decision. Everything is a movement one way or another. And am I going to trust that I'm going to wake up or not? Or I'm going to, in a secular view, I suppose the movement would be more from, like if you're atheist, almost more like towards meaning or away from meaning. There's a lot of movies nowadays like trying to find, well, what's the purpose of this? Well, just believe or
make your own purpose.
Make your own, but it's finding meaning. And I think because the entire also Christian worldview says everything is a story, that there is a beginning, middle, and end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the grand scope of the universe.
That, as opposed to a more secular point of view, where if there's not real stories are
kind of artificial.
Yeah, they don't have to exist because why should they? If the universe doesn't have a story, we're just constructing them out of nothing. From a Christian point of view, you're just kind of imitating what the whole universe is doing, anyways. And when I'm saying it that way. Well, if you imitate what the whole universe is doing anyways, then everything in the universe has a meaning. And if you have a meaning, you have a story.
Interesting.
It made more sense when I'm driving my car. And I was thinking these things. But a couple examples, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, this is kind of my ode to small stories, to the fact that everything is meaningful to write about. My sister and I often will discuss Ray Bradbury stories because I made her read Dandelion Wine and she loved me forever for it. But there's a chapter in there, and Dandelion Wine is largely a collection of short stories kind of loosely strung together about this boy's summer in the Midwest. And the nostalgia hurts so bad, even if you've never lived in the Midwest.
Just the style.
The style. It's just like captures this old school America, kind of like this town here. Not quite as weird. Well, no, not completely true. But there's this entire chapter about this boy buying shoes. That's the story. Because there's never been, I ever read, any chapter or collection of words that make you love buying new shoes so much as this story does. There is such a wonder in these shoes. And they're just normal shoes. They're not magical shoes, but they're imbued with a sense of wonder of now this boy can leap and run new again because he has fresh shoes for the summer. And
that's cool.
And the fact that you can get a story out of something such a normal thing, I guess is what fascinates me. I feel like that is part of the purpose of writing, is to show people, look, the things that you think are normal and kind of meaningless are not meaningless.
When you first suggested this topic, I immediately was reminded of a writing exercise I read in a book in I think it was early high school. I don't remember what they called it. Object. Basically, it was a story starter thing.
Yeah.
And their challenge was that you could start a story based on anything, like anything you had lying around the house.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember if this is the example of the book. Like maybe start with like a button. You just start writing, describing the button and the person who's like examining it, and maybe it's the seamstress who was picking just the perfect buttons for the orphan children that she was taking care of. And then you start from an object, and that gives you a character. And then this woman is taking care of orphans. That goes on to that's a conflict.
Yeah.
So you can literally start anything you see can potentially be inspiration for a story.
And I think the benefit of thinking this way, of saying that everything is story, is that in some ways, if you practice this, writer's block
goes
away, or at least has you're always going to be like, but what do I do next?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of benefit. This is an example of my life. The other day, me and the kids were at the park, and there was all this cut grass that was in clumps and just dry, and Rennie starts gathering it and laying in it and running around it and throwing it at me, and I just thought, like, how wonderful grass is. Grass is grass. I mean, is corn grass? I don't know, but and it made me want to write a story about grass, and then I did. At the time we're recording this, I just put it out on my website as The Green Nymph.
Oh, nice. I'm a little behind. I need to
that's
catch
fine.
up.
Yeah.
I hope it's about a grass fight because I kind of like when you said she was throwing at you.
Oh yeah, we were throwing at each other, and she was rolling around in it, and yeah, it was great. It was like a snowball fight, but with clumps of dead grass.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you've ever done that. It's a little more itchy than snow.
Yeah, possibly.
But
I do have little sisters after all.
Well, I'm talking to the audience, but if you haven't, go now. Even if you live in the desert,
You'll have a grass fight.
have a grass fight. But anyways, to me, there's again my writing style and reason doing things might be different than other people. I mean, some people have different purpose for writing, but I've always felt it important to say the little things matter. I remember an illustration from J. Marcus Straczynski's screenwriting book, which is a really good screenwriting book. I think I mentioned it in early episodes once or twice. But he says, like, details matter. He says, like, he has this example in the book about husband and wife, or I think the husband's talking about his wife who's dead, and how he encapsulates some moment is that he always called it jam and she called it jelly.
Yeah.
And it's those little details where life is. I mean, even big epic things, they will usually try to find some small things to attach things to.
Even if it's something that seems kind of inconsequential in the grand scope of things, that is part of life.
Yeah.
These little conversations we have, these little moments, these little sensations. And yeah, there is life there. Like when you read that in a story, and people have said this about, say, Quentin Tarantino's dialogue. He'll have dialogue in Pulp Fiction about the just most mundane things that has nothing really to do with the overarching plot. But people love it because people talk like that. People talk about the weird differences between different countries, about like how in Europe they don't call it a quarter pounder of cheese because they don't have pounds.
Yeah.
You know, not in terms of measurement anyway.
They weigh nothing.
But yeah, no, that there's a genuineness there that's you don't have if your characters are just exposition machines.
Again, because it's almost required in our contract to mention Lost. No, but it's interesting. Of all the insanity in that show, one of the things people remember most is Charlie giving Claire an empty peanut butter jar.
Oh yeah,
and pretending to eat peanut butter out of it.
Yeah.
Of all the insanity, that's one of those things. Be like, oh, remember that scene?
That was such a nice little romantic moment.
Exactly, and it's the little things where the story, not always, but I've seen plenty of big budget movies that have no heart because there's no little scenes. You know, it's stuff happens and it's vastly important, but it almost doesn't matter unless
you've got some of these little human touches. In it.
Because that's where most of us live life. And I think that's where our stories are. Most people's stories are in. You know, the alarm clock goes off. Do I get up now or do I hit? That could be a story. Do I hit the snooze button or not?
Well, you know, it's unfortunate in some ways. Anyone who's working in, like, say, set design for any movie, they are thinking about this kind of stuff. There's a lot that, like, say, a character's bedroom says about who that character is. And set designers, that's their job to think about it. Now, if it's generic and, you know, maybe that doesn't say a whole lot about the character, if they're just generic American teenager or something. But sometimes you can, like, add some, and if the cinematographer sees that, maybe they'll include it in the mise-en-scène and you find something really unique. I guess Brian pointed that out. They did that with The Searchers. That one gravestone that has that mentions John Wayne's parents who were killed by Comanches. Yeah, most viewers aren't going to see that on their first viewing, but if you know that's there, then it informs the character's perspective on Indians. Yeah.
Well, that reminds. Was it? I think what Brian was talking about about some sort of expressionism where that's really rooted to objects.
I guess German expressionism.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, at least that one is very vivid imagery. I remember him saying that was a key thing.
It's related. I mean,
there's sometimes it's tied specifically to an object. I think you talked about that in Notorious specifically.
But for us creators, I do think it's, again, I have found this out largely because between, you know, editing big projects and kids and stuff, I don't write a lot of new big things currently. So I've been writing, you know, I write flash fictions. We've mentioned that before. But that's where I've kind of learned slowly, how do you write a story? a small story about something that still matters.
Yeah. And you've also written a number of these for not just for your website, but for the local newspaper.
Yeah.
And you've gotten some good feedback from
Yeah.
those, haven't you? Because I think you do a really good job of capturing, because you do have some heady ideas
Yes,
that you can
it
express in
happens.
various things.
Yeah.
But for a newspaper, you've written, I think, some very nice, poignant little flash fiction, very short stories that I think a lot of people can relate to, whether playing hide and go seek with your kid and
Yeah.
then like you almost lose your kid and you
Yeah.
start freaking out and then, oh, she's under the covers in the bed.
And the way I think, again, not everyone is that. I think not only is there a story in conceivably in just normal life, waking up or going to bed or making breakfast, but I think if you're more philosophically bent, like sometimes I am, you can make bigger points out of little things. Or not, you can make big points out of little things.
And
you don't have to, but
right. And in that case, like that I'm describing, that's a good way to help other people see kind of the importance of the little things.
Yeah.
Like when you show them, look, this is something beautiful, and sometimes that's easier for people to grasp onto than if it's in the middle of a 1,000-page epic.
Like I was at a wedding one time, and weddings just make me pensive in a good way. But for some reason, I got in my mind, like my kid wedding was pretty small, and then you see the father dance with the bride, and you think about such things. And so, and Rennie at that time loved being dizzy. She loved me just whirling her around and around. She never gets dizzy. So I remember writing a story called Dizzy, basically where I'm twirling. Well, the main character is twirling his daughter around, and then it's like morphed into wedding, and then morphs back, and then connecting, making those connections between those, what life is, the important moments of life, because it's like this. I don't know if your parents are like this, but mine took all kinds of home. Oh yeah, I know yours are, but all kinds of home videos. Mm-hmm. And honestly, home videos are usually just about things that they're not important. I mean, when you're living them, they're like, it's just a day. You're just walking around or making silly faces or being just whoever you were on that day. And then 20, 30 years later, watching like, remember, it's like
it's a time capsule.
It's a time capsule. And like, there's so much of life that when you're living it, you don't realize it as cool as when you stand outside of it and look at it.
Yeah.
And I think the point of one opportunity writers have is to step back from normal life and show people what it actually is. Again, I come from a Christian worldview when I think everything has meaning. Mm-hmm. It might be different if you don't think that. To step back and say,
yeah,
look, I guess that's, like Waiting for Godot is you step back and say, look, you're just doing nothing. But,
well, I mean, it is interesting when you, like at a funeral, generally, hopefully, everyone remembers all the good things about a person's life.
Yeah.
All the bad things they may have said or done. Most of the time, if it's a generally decent person, that stuff the bad stuff just kind of fades away, and you just remember the important things. And that's an interesting perspective to, I think, maybe bring into stories in a sense. So it's not just about the glitz and the slam bang and the emotional moments, all the high points, the scope of what a life means. I mean,
one of my favorite scenes, but one of those scenes that stuck with me from Howl's Moving Castle, which has a lot of great stuff in it. Mm-hmm. The first time I always remember, she's an old lady. If you don't know Howl's Moving Castle, there's this girl who gets turned into a 9-year-old lady and then kidnapped by a moving castle, and it goes on from there. So it's crazy, it's epic, etc. But there's this scene where she pulls her chair out and she's just sitting by this lake and just watching the water and thinking, how nice it is to just be here.
Yeah.
That's a Miyazaki moment.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing that you don't normally put a story around, but there's a story there.
Mm-hmm. Something interesting. My grandmother, who lives at my parents' place, she sits through a lot of weird movies that her crazy grandkids love. Like watching Doctor Who and all this kind of crazy stuff. And some of it she enjoys, some of it she gets kind of tired of. But she loves Howl's Moving Castle. That's her favorite Miyazaki movie that we
It's
showed.
a great movie.
Oh yeah, I think there is part of it is because it's about an old lady for a good bit of it, and I think she appreciates the little scenes like that, little like touches, and that is a very memorable moment. It was like sometimes it's just nice to sit and watch the sunset.
And again, I love big epic movies. I think we want those. There also is a sense that heroism and changing the world, and but it's like I sometimes tell my youth. I'm sure I've mentioned here that I run the youth group at our church. If you want to change the world, first thing you do is work hard at your job, be a good parent, be a good, spouse, normal life. You do normal life well. I think that's why I sometimes think movies like things like Stranger Than Fiction, it just like gives us interesting view of life or not life, or what it means to actually. Not that I'm all for like YOLO sort of stuff, but that sort of like, are we going to actually live it, or are we going to just have it happen to us?
Just talk about it.
Yeah. So I don't know where we're going with, except again, it's just my plea for creators to to remember that.
Well, I was gonna say I just have a question for you. Since how do you balance, and maybe I don't know if there needs to be a balance, but when you see these kind of moments. I guess multi-part question here.
Yeah.
One, how do you look for moments that might make interesting stories in real life? And two, how do you not let those kind of moments of inspiration distract you from actually being in the moment?
I guess it helps that I don't have to come up with the moments too often. That it's not like I'm
on the lookout for them.
I mean, I guess it's just I've learned to mind them when they happen, but not necessarily forcefully look for them constantly. Okay. It's one of those things, like writing for this local newspaper. I'm like, they'll like write me, next week you need your story. And I'm like, okay, I need to start coming up with a story. And then I'll start thinking about what's been happening. What's the season? What are we doing? And kind of more looking through things that I do normally, but maybe I haven't done recently. Like, we played hide and seek. Is there something there? Or
okay.
Now, like the grass story just came about because afterward I was just so struck with. This is a neat thing. I would like to do something with this.
Okay.
So I think part of it's just I think I've learned to be open-minded about it just because I've written that sort of story so often now.
Okay.
I mean, my first flight fiction ever, for a long time, I was like, you can't write a story less than 1,000 words. First one ever came kind of by accident. We were at this wedding reception, getting weddings. And I love, I don't know if you've ever been to a wedding reception with my family. We love the dancing and the the crazy YMCA and stuff like that. And I get a kick out of lots of people being happy and music.
How dare you like
I know.
such a thing?
And I really desperately want to, sometimes when I have these emotions, that I'm like, I want to express this somehow. That's a writer to me.
Which and I love, because the modern way of doing it, and this is not bad at all, but the modern way of capturing those moments is whip up the smartphone, take a picture, which is totally fine. I love that there's an outlet for it, but I kind of also enjoy that your method of capturing the moment is writing it down in a scene.
When it's funny, now I mentioned it, like Natasha's the picture taker and a video taker. She was like, take a video of this, and I'm always like, but I'm doing it right now. I don't want to videotape it. I have a horrible if I'm doing something, I want to be in it.
Yeah.
And then process it. As opposed to stand outside of it while it's happening.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing now in the age of smartphones.
Yeah.
I've seen some people criticize people who take videos at concerts and stuff, because one, that means you're at a concert, but you're also looking at this little tiny version of what's right in front of you. So you're kind of missing out a little bit.
So I guess a second part of the answer is just to be involved in what you're actually living. I mean, I think the best way to come up with ideas is to just be. I mean, not be on the lookout like, okay, I'm not living life to find things, as much as I'm living life, and then things that, sometimes it's good just having time. Hey, you need to write a story, and like, okay, well, I'll go and think through things. And sometimes it's like, well, that was really neat. How do I express that? And the story we read on here, Man.
Oh yeah,
that came from just some emotion that I wanted to express.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of my best stories come that way.
Yeah, I've
we mentioned that before here. I think.
I think so. Yeah, and I know I've written at least one flash fiction that came out of processing things, and so let's explore this in the fictional version.
Oh, I could just go end my story about my first flash fiction. So went to wedding reception. Want to express this kind of joy and whatever. And I don't know how he came up with it, much just came to me because I was trying to get the idea. But then I wrote, it's the first one called Move to the Beat. But basically it's just a lot of description, people dancing, whatever. And then the last scene or sentence, whatever, basically this guy's wife wheelchairing him off the dance floor because he's in a wheelchair during this whole thing. And
he was just watching everyone.
Well, he was kind of I can't remember how I wrote it, but largely it's him living vicariously through that and remembering that that's how he will be after everything's made new again. I think that was my impression. Whether it's written like that, who knows? It's been a long time since I reread it. But
I do like the idea too of you can grab that inspiration in the moment. And again, nothing wrong with taking pictures at a wedding as long as you are also participating in it. But I like the idea that maybe incorporating into stories after the fact. It gives you a chance to kind of ruminate after it and
process it and ground it in something. Yeah, and I think. Again, I suppose being a parent gives me a lot more options for stories, but you have all kinds of living creatures in your house. But
you were telling me about some of their psychology earlier tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So
it is very entertaining.
So again, I think it's fascinating to look at the world. Because I personally, sometimes you live life, it just
passes you by.
It's just mundane sometimes. Sometimes just like it's boring. It's I gotta get up and do the same thing over again. And sometimes the writer themselves needs these stories to remind them. I think stories are there to remind us what the world's actually like.
Well, and it just occurred to me, too, that this is a little different for kids and adults anyways. Kids, you see this sort of story in comics sometimes, like Calvin doing a very basic sort of thing, and he makes it a grand adventure, sort of, outer space epic, or, kids will like to bring, bits of their own imagination, and mundane things get to be very fantastical. Adults can sometimes see these and not necessarily have to bring in, and it's totally fine if you want to bring in the fantastical to real life, but it's a little easier in some ways, or maybe it was originally when you were really little babies who are amazed at everything.
Yeah.
But when adults can be sort of re-amazed at the world around them without having to add the fantastical to it, that's a special thing.
And I guess I should mention, I've been talking a lot about wonder and stuff, but I think, just as much as processing the negative. The sorrow and the, process. There's a story Fleischmann wrote called, I don't even know what it's called anymore. But it's basically this whole it starts out as this little story, this brother and sister, and they're at the park, and they're spinning, each other on the merry-go-round, and the girl's just trying to read while the boys run around doing crazy stuff, and they both leave. And then it's revealed at the end of it that this is a husband talking to his wife about, I had this dream last night about these two kids. And then it's implied or said or whatever that basically they had a miscarriage. So it's like processing like the kids that would have been. Mm-hmm. Processing that sort of loss in hopefully in a tender way. So there's I think lots of way. Again, writing's good for writers to process their own emotions, but also just those touchstones that bond humanity together. We all inherently think in story. We don't say, "What did you do today?" and give you a list necessarily. You tell I did this, and then it's then and then and then
the sequence of events. Yeah, which in a way is a story.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think somewhere down the road here, we want to do a story school. A thing about kind of expressing our own personal stories.
Exactly. That's on our docket to do.
What does real life stories look like?
Yeah, exactly.
Not just kind of what you were talking about in the short story term.
Yeah, not fictionalizing things, but
when you're actually sharing something important to you, because the word of their testimony is an important weapon that Christians have.
Yeah.
So you can be looking forward to that, and in the meantime, be looking at the world around you and seeing. And maybe if you're stuck on your story, maybe or on something that you need to write or film or what have you, maybe take another look at the world around you and what you've been experiencing lately, and you might find more inspiration than you think.
Yep. All right.
So with that, let's move on into soundtrack.
So today I'll take the first soundtrack. I thought I'd pick a remix with a story in it, since we're talking about everything is story. And this is quite nice, cheery, Celtic sort of song.
Awesome.
It's from a game called Artura, which I've never played or even heard of. The song is called Dublin Delight, and it's remixed by Andreas Wallstrom and Mackie.
Okay.
Enjoy.
The night was cold and bitter, he was looking for an inn, when the devil shined before him, showing off an awful grin. The demon spake in frozen and he nodded to the beast. A feast was small, the dark one said, can make you laugh or feast. Come within these walls of mine before the frosty bite. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and drink it with delight. Come within these walls of mine before the frosty bite. Let me table you will dine yourself another pint. Well, the young man said, don't bother, soon I'll find an inn, because your home and castle is built on wicked sin. The devil looked offended as the offer was denied, but still he opened up the door, inviting him inside. Come within these walls of mine before the frosty bite. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and drink it with delight. Come within these walls of mine before the frosty bite. Let me table you and drink yourself another pint. Yeah, na 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 na. Preaching, I can make you whole, and all I ask of you, good sir, is your immortal soul. The dark one asked, are you not tempted? He said, not the least. For little did the devil know the man talking was a priest. Come within these walls of mine before the frosty bite. Grab yourself a bottle of wine and drink it with delight. Come within these walls of mine before the frosty bite. Let me table you and find yourself another pint.
Okay, and we're back.
Hello. I hope you enjoyed that. I did.
I did as well. I don't know. I love Celtic stuff.
Yeah.
So, man, this town looks a little different than
I don't
before
know.
the
It's a
soundtrack.
little more
Desaturated? I'm not sure.
uninhabited.
Yeah, it became a ghost town all of a sudden.
I'm not real comfortable here anymore.
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why that song sucked all the life out of it, or I don't know.
And my shoes, I can't get. They're up there.
Unless it was some sort of. This was just all some sort of elaborate ruse or something. Anywho,
Okay.
But we should finish up our podcast so
All right.
we can get going.
So get out of here.
Okay, so our next segment is It Came from the Interwebs. Our podcast has been pretty deep so far today. This segment will not be that.
Yes.
Oh, no, we're going into the silly side of the internet again, and this will be a bit of an experience. I'm going to show Nick a series of videos, which is a little problematic for a podcast, admittedly, but you'll hear it and we'll describe stuff. And there is a connecting thread. Actually, I should ask: are you at all familiar with that like the kids react, adults react,
Okay. Yeah.
YouTubers react?
I know of the idea. Yeah.
You know the idea. Okay, so this is from I stole this from one of the YouTubers react things. This concept of for you to react to, basically.
Oh, okay.
I've got a playlist of videos here on YouTube.
All right. So I see a blurry Google screen.
Yes, here we go. Someone's typing in a Google search, searching for the color red, and they click
nice.
on images.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's the color blue is somehow with the color red.
That is very, very odd.
Yes. So, okay, here's another video. We've got a
grassland.
slow-mo of two guys running towards each other.
Okay. Yeah. They're kicking each other. Ouch. They just groined each other.
Yeah, somehow they leapt in midair in a kick, but instead of like their feet colliding, their crotches collided.
Always strike re-strike the groin, as Master Ken would say.
Why would he say that?
You ever seen Ameridote videos?
No.
Okay, someday I'll introduce you to Ameridote.
Okay.
And some person's getting electrocuted?
I think it might be an animatronic, actually.
Okay, I need a donut now.
Okay, so animatronic being electrocuted violently.
I think it's an animatronic in an electric chair for some reason, a little disturbing. And yeah, then you heard the voice of some lady. It's like, okay, I need.
That's the first thing I did not think that.
I love how it's not even. I need a drink. Like, I need a donut now. It's so weird. Like, this is apparently at IAPA, which is a trade show for like amusement attractions
okay.
and things. I only know that because Archer Tag used to go there, but I don't know. I guess this would be for a haunted house.
That's the only thing I can think of because
yeah, it's kind of weird.
it shouldn't be for like a putt-putt.
No.
Like hole in one, you electrocute her. Yay.
Okay.
Crump up the jam.
That's the name of this video.
That's an interesting video title.
So we have a whole bunch of like little figurines,
Like Disney
figurines,
and some guy dancing.
some green screen dude is dancing to I think it's Who Wants to Be or Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf or something.
Yeah, that's it's kind of interesting. He's like going all hip hop-ish to this very ballet sort of song.
Yeah, so
It's just odd. I don't have any clue how these all relate.
all right, this video is called Rogue Trumpeter, and
I like it already. So there's a trumpet here. Some guy's holding like doom style trumpet.
yeah, very kind of old looking. And then there's from the balcony this marching band. The head of this marching band is looking up very annoyed.
And the trumpeter who's just interfering.
I should say this marching band is like all in uniform. Like this looks like it's like an actual naval marching band, and the guy just totally like hijacked it or
That's
something.
awesome. Just like
with a really lame sounding trumpet. All right.
So Hawaii Five-0, you ever seen that show? Where there's a drum fill in it that goes.
that is the world's awesomest drum fill.
If you couldn't guess, that was a high schooler speaking, and when he was drumming, that he was going like this one long
Yeah, there was probably
semicircle.
20 drums there.
Probably like all the drums that they had at the school. He was going down the line of them all to do that. So
And I was walking away all pumped. He's like, I was awesome.
yeah.
How it feels to chew 5 gum.
How it feels to chew 5 gum. New 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
This is where the podcast does not benefit you guys as well. But
No.
basically, a man just head-butted a door.
We not just headbutted, he went
He
flying through a door. We
Head first.
let's see this again.
Okay, many times over.
New 5 gum.
I don't know why anyone would do this. It looked like he just straight up launched himself into the door head first.
Head first.
And then he
through the door.
And then he went through it, and then he was like hanging there.
That's nuts.
So this one is called Baby's Scared of Party Toy. Baby's looking very pensively. And you kind of guess
man.
what happened there, I think,
Yes.
from the sound. So here we have an animated dinosaur thing singing a weird little song. And then there was another dinosaur with a very strange face that interjected the yee there.
Wow.
So yeah, that's that one.
That is nuts. I don't know where he found all this.
So this is called best stock footage. There's no sound of this one, but there's a bunch of people business people shaking hands and being very celebratory in the background.
And a creepy guy just staring at you from the front who just like slides in. What would you use this for?
My guess, I think these are two different stock images. Like let's see this again. So because these business people, they're being very demonstrative, like hugging and like they're really carrying on with their party. And then I think this is just a still image of a guy staring at a camera.
It's so awesome, though.
Like
Having a whole party in the background. I've never seen someone who has that much excitement over anything. Okay.
So here we have someone with a green screen holding a hot dog. They're squirting mustard onto their hot dog. And I should say this is green screen because behind there's a guy fully clothed walking into a swimming pool
And now it says ASDGFJ.
in floating rainbow text.
Oh, and the mustard is going down the arm now.
yes.
And the soundtrack is very like Mario Kart.
Yeah, it kind of is.
And the guy's just walking in the water. What is this test footage for?
I don't know how to use a green screen. I guess I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to warn you now. I'm going to turn the sound down just a little bit for this one.
Okay. That was the best Universal theme ever. My favorite part of that video is that it says you can get the ringtone of it.
I don't know.
I want that ringtone. Actually, that should be an alarm clock. You would never sleep again.
No, out of fear.
Out of any minute, it's going to happen. Any minute. But gotta wake up now.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what the next one's called. So, a guy jumping on the kitchen cabinets for some reason and bringing the cabinets crashing down on him.
Oh, all kinds of cabinets.
Like that was.
We're back to school. Denim, haircut. Backpacks, come get your backpack.
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
New shoes.
So yes, this is a commercial.
For mall, looks like.
Denim,
Yeah.
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
haircut. New shoes. So get yourself back to school with these tips. Haircut.
What in the...
The haircut lady had it going on.
Yeah.
Like she had the best vocal range, I think. So that was a very cheaply made local commercial.
I need this playlist, Tim. You don't understand. I teach youth group.
I can get it for you. I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag here a little bit. So where these videos came from, well, the playlist I put together, there's 25 videos.
Okay.
These are actually all originally from another playlist on YouTube called Important Videos that some guy made to collect what he felt were important videos. His playlist is like 300 videos long.
Right.
It's like 3 hours long.
Like important videos?
Well, you've seen the
Yes.
quality of how
Yes.
important these videos are so far. Obviously, they're very important.
They're very important. They're
And this is
the world end.
And let me see if I can find the thing here real quick.
These are wonderful, though. I've never seen such.
Now I
collection.
should warn you about before you show your youth kids the full playlist. Some of them are.
Oh, I would probably use yours, not.
Yeah, you'd probably want to use mine because there's some R-rated.
I mean, one time I was
there.
watching with some people like Japanese commercials. There's some weird Japanese commercials out there.
Yes, there are.
Granted, there's some weird American commercials too.
Yeah, but Japanese have their own kind of unique brand of weirdness. So yes, this playlist has been viewed 668 million times.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
How did he curate this stuff? Where do you find this stuff?
Who knows?
There's a lot of internet out there.
There is a lot of. Now, I imagine he's been curating it for a while.
Yeah.
I would guess. But there's a lot of stuff on here. And like I said, not all of it's worth watching. I guess it's sort of a challenge. It's like 3 hours long to sit through it all.
And they're all
in
like
one
30
go.
seconds.
Most of them. Toward the end, there's some longer ones.
Okay. That's nuts.
But yeah, let's go see.
So we got Airbus test flight gone wrong.
Yeah, and I've been playing these. I actually made the playlist, and I've been playing these in randomized. So I don't
nice.
actually know what's going to come up each time.
Aircraft manufacturers have tried to fix that problem by designing the pilot out of the cockpit.
So we have an airplane landing.
This is the first fully automated plane, flown by a computer.
And it's going through the trees.
And it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. And in fact, there is a big explosion.
Whoa,
Big
yeah.
fireball. Hopefully no one was actually hurt in making that. But the timing's like, and poof. So this clip is called Nicolas Cage Driving. And Nicolas Cage has just gotten some dude's car. He's hit the thing. He's driving very, very intense Nicolas Cage faces, close-ups on his face. And he's very intensely driving. It just ends
That's
with
awesome edit.
It just ends with the airbag exploding in his face. It's a beautiful thing. So here we have a guy sweeping, and he tosses a little sombrero.
Oh, onto his dancing cat.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
That was impressive.
Speaking of cats,
Water treadmilling a cat.
so staying alive.
That is something else.
Important.
What's your favorite job? Crushing up boxes? Yeah.
So it's an interview.
Whoa.
Interview with this little kid. Asked him what his favorite job was, crushing up boxes, and he like literally is like pounding in them with.
He's like Hulk smashing it.
Hulk smashing. Yeah, it's a pretty great transition.
He's fully invested in that.
Okay, so this next one is called The Proper Way to End Your Film. So we've got a guy with a mustache. He's rolling up his sleeve.
Who has a gun on his arm.
Bad guys aiming a gun at him. His gun was apparently a small rocket or something. And as soon as he shot the guy, and then the explosion, and then there's the text that says some guy apparently gave it up to the authorities after the incident and is serving a life sentence.
Nice.
And credits roll.
Nice. That's good.
That's the way you end the movie.
End it.
You just like, bad guy blew up.
And with a bang.
Yeah. All right, we've got a Mario Kart video here. Daisy was in first place, but then she got hit by the blue shell. It happens, and now she's hit by a red shell, and so now she's in second place, and now she's hit by a third red shell. Now she's in fourth place, fifth place, sixth, seventh. Everyone's been. Oh, and Luigi just knocked her off the bridge. And
I've played that game. I've been that.
Yeah, and then now here's
a
bullet hit off the bridge again. One from first to 12th place, and she's back, and she's just going to sit there.
Yep, I've had that happen to me.
Now here's a crazy Mario Kart game clip. Here's Rosalina. She's almost to the finish line. She's dragging a green shell, but she slowly backs up, and Luigi, who's just driving by, hits the green shell that she had reversed engineered, and Rosalina goes backward and just barely crosses the finish line before Luigi
That
does.
is awesome.
And terribly
Is that a
cruel.
real thing?
I think that's actual footage, yes.
That's amazing.
Like whoever managed to line that
was
up.
Perfect.
That's evil, but yes, very amazing.
Yes. That is awesome.
This
For you don't know, this is the Evangelion theme song done by Bikehorn.
and we've got some video footage to go along with this here.
This is awesome.
As I first found this, I was mesmerized by this. So let me describe what you're seeing. There's
the Evangelion, which is a giant purple robot riding a bicycle. Some lady's body going past me. That's very Evangelion. There's a giant head in the background, which I think is from something I haven't watched yet.
From the movie, yeah.
Yeah. And that's really all there in watermelons.
Yes, he's driving. He's riding his bike past lots and lots of watermelons.
There's a bike going by. Because,
yep. And I'm pretty sure he's driving through. It's got to be blood, right?
Oh, almost. Yeah, I mean it's Evangelion.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
I love how the bike actually has streamers on the handlebars.
I think they should do a whole episode, a realistic the guy should animate to this. That'd be awesome. They'd be like Shinji and dancing right here.
I almost picked this for my soundtrack.
This would have been awesome. Man, someone spent a lot of work on this absurdity.
Yeah, well, I think the video and the music might be from two different creators.
Still, someone made both.
Yes.
This is not the easiest thing to do on Bikehorn.
No, I wouldn't think so either. And it's quite impressive. I've never heard a Bikehorn arrangement like this either, to be honest. Huh. I mean, we did that whole
episode of music thing, yeah.
And I didn't encounter a Bikehorn thing.
Well, it was the underutilized piece of music. Like next time there's like a wedding reception or something, we'll have to request this.
I tell you though, it's the second time in recent history I found a bizarre version of this theme.
It's such a good theme, though. It's so addictive.
It really is. I mean, because I remember that gospel choir rendition of it, which was awesome.
It was awesome. It's a very energetic, uplifting theme, even in bike horn.
Despite the series that it's attached to.
Yes.
Okay, we love this, but I know this is
Gendo would not be enjoying this.
Okay. Okay, I love it. I'll
Ray
start
Iron
listening.
would be like,
what
is this?
Yeah.
Asuka would just call it dumb.
Yeah, pretty much.
So. This is when people would like to see Facebook Live with us right here.
See, we can do our own acapella version of
Exactly,
this.
we should have, yeah.
So
Yeah, it would not be any worse than that Universal theme.
That's true. Okay, anyway. Let's see. We've done this. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. We haven't seen this one.
Feels like Teen Shovel.
So, to explain what you're hearing here, it was not just Smells Like Teen Spirit. There was a video clip of a guy. He's a guy slipping on ice. Looks like he's shoveling ice.
And the shovel hits. It makes that sound right here, right? And they use it in the song. That's awesome. That works really well.
That's very impressive.
Who heard that and decided, I'm going to make that video?
Well, see, this is the reason why I thought to specifically choose this for this episode, this Intrawebs, because here we see all kinds of interesting art. You know, everything is story. Everything is
yeah. I mean, these are just most of them are just like weird mistakes. They're like, we'll make a video out of this.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a variety of stuff in here.
Yes.
I think we've done about all of them. I'll double check here and make sure. So you can tell me if there's anything.
Not sure which is my favorite. There was that chew gum one was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
but they're all pretty great.
I think that's all of them that I put in this playlist. So
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I'm glad you did.
I think after this podcast comes out, we might have to link this on the Facebook page.
Okay.
People may want to enjoy it for themselves.
This is I think this is some of the best. At least these are my favorites. From the
those
list.
were very enjoyable. The internet has created many great things and many very strange things.
This is true. So
it came from the Intrawebs.
That is why it came from the Intrawebs. So anyway,
that was enjoyable.
So yes, make sure keep those cameras rolling, America.
Oh man,
but that's the thing we've said though about America's Funniest Home Videos. Those are just all the crazy things that have happened on tape, or on memory cards.
Which
nowadays.
I guess is more percentage now than used to. But like when it first started, and you had VHS.
Yeah,
I mean that was the stuff that was actually recorded and what wasn't recorded.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh,
sometimes.
it is. The world is a very strange, ridiculous place.
And we love it for it. Okay, so we should sign out here. So remember, we still have that brand new Facebook page out there that you should go give it a like.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to it. We post things between podcast episodes.
Yes. Sometimes fun little media things that we think tie in or something we just want to talk about.
So talk about... I think we'll have some excerpts, some old episodes going up now and then.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be a fun way to share. Like if you want to, it's like, hey, you want to introduce your friends to some weirdos who want to let Michael Bay direct Wizard of Oz.
That's us.
That's us.
No, do we want to let him?
Well, okay.
We let him.
We imagine the chaos that ensued if he did.
You know, that was many years ago, and there's still Transformer movies coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's about. Okay.
You know, another thing we should probably keep track of is the number of times that we've suggested something that happens.
Yeah.
With, like, for instance, Star Wars Land. We talked about that way before Disney ever bought Star Wars.
Well, you talked about like a reality TV show where you're like doing missions and stuff, and there was something kind of like that on TV.
Yeah,
you had to...
recently, which I never actually got around to watching, but I should go check it out on the CBS site.
We're basically, this is where people come to get their ideas.
Yeah, they're crackpotty ideas.
They're crackpotty ideas. Exactly. So, anyways.
So check out the Facebook. You don't want to miss out on fun over there. And of course...
subscribe, tell your friends.
On Stitcher and iTunes.
Send us money. I mean, enjoy listening.
Let me give you my soundtrack choice here. I wasn't sure what to go with. I was looking for something kind of wacky, and then I remembered Toe Jam and Earl, which is a weird sounding game. It's even weirder looking cover. I think it's like a couple aliens like exploring Earth, except they're like hip hop aliens or something.
Yeah, I've never played it, but every bit of music I've heard from it is awesome.
And this is no exception. This song is called Killer Toe Funk. It is from FF Music DJ and Jeffrey Tosser. And again, just another example that inspiration can come from anywhere.
Even Toe Jam.
Toe Jam, indeed.
So,
but I hope you enjoy it. It's pretty fun. In the meantime, Nick, I feel like we should probably leave this place or we might never get out.
I concur. How do we leave a place? We have to wait for the podcast, don't we?
Well, I think once the music starts, hopefully the podcast should spirit us away to our next location.
Spirited away, nice. I hope not there.
We've been there before.
I know, and it's a little freaky.
It was a lot of work too.
Yeah. So okay. Well, let's get out here then, Tim.
All right. Thank you, folks, for listening. This has been Tim.
This has been Nick.
Bye-bye.